Welcome to another episode of Investor Insights, a new and dynamic feature where investment meets insights and you, of course, stay informed. Whether you're a seasoned investor or starting off your journey, we bring you expert analysis, market trends, and success stories to help you navigate. So, get ready for new opportunities and let's dive in. In today's episode, we're looking beyond the sectors, examining each sector that exists within St. Lucia's investment climate. And joining me in this discussion are three key pillars to this process, and these are Invest St. Lucia's Investment Services Officers. We have with us Ms. Cyril Jeremy, Mr. Zacchaeus Joseph, and Ms. Taraja Philip. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Extremely excited to have you here, and I just believe that you guys are paramount to the process, and who better to speak on the sectors than the persons who really are the ones in charge of it. So we'll start firstly with the role of an investment officer at Invest St. Lucia.
My role as an investment services officer is to provide comprehensive support to potential and existing investors throughout the investment process. And I do that by assisting them in providing regulatory requirements, advice to them, provide the best opportunities available for them, and just providing them and facilitating them with a smooth entry into the local market. We also act as a liaison between the investor and stakeholders. That's to ensure that our investors experience a seamless process when we're taking them through the investment journey.
In addition to what my colleague referenced, as investment services officers, we have the responsible for three major sectors in St. Lucia, that being the tourism sector, the manufacturing sector, and myself, the BPO sector. There is a demand for investments in the country, and because of that, St. Lucia is now an increasingly attractive destination for global investors who are looking to tap into our workforce. So our role as investment services officers is also to help investors capitalize on that opportunity by connecting them with the right resources, as well as providing them the support that they need for successful and sustainable operations on the island.
Wow, so the investment service officer really has a lot that they do. I don't know, Zach, you wanted to add something as well?
Yes, definitely. My colleagues did pinpoint what we do in a nutshell quite eloquently. To add to that, our roles are aligned with the company's mission, the core mission of facilitating socio-economic activity and getting reasonable returns on our assets as well, which is very paramount. And also our mandates are aligned with the government's mandate in terms of investment. We also look for emerging sectors that we look to tap in and capitalize in as well. And that assists with the ease of doing business in St. Lucia. So we also want to be at the forefront to capitalize on opportunities in the various sectors, including the emerging sectors as well.
Now, Zach, I'm happy that you completed that statement, and the role really sounds like one that's dynamic. And you've mentioned that we look at the vision of the organization as well as the vision for St. Lucia as it relates to investment. But in a lot of things that you're saying, and I think Tara mentioned it, how attractive St. Lucia is as a destination. But what really makes St. Lucia that attractive to an investor to want to invest in the island?
As you said, there's great demand for St. Lucia as a destination, an investment destination. St. Lucia, at the core of St. Lucia, we are very hospitable, welcoming and friendly people. My sector, the tourism sector, when you think of tourism, you think of people. And I think that creates a competitive advantage for us as a country, as a destination. Coupled with that, government have a lot of incentive packages to the alluring investor, where you can get incentives under the Special Development Act based on where you invest in St. Lucia. There's also the new Tourism Development Act that gives additional incentives to investors who are key on sustainable development. And then to create, because as my colleague indicated, we also try to facilitate local investors as well. So the government have actually implemented the new Community Tourism Development Act, where they give local investors an opportunity to have a stake into the tourism sector as well. And I think that adds a lot of value to St. Lucia as a destination. There is a lot of key capital projects in the pipeline, including the ports of entry for expansion. We have a stable government, which is very important for investment. But as an investor, you want to make sure that the climate is very friendly and it's very conducive for that as well.
In addition to what Zach mentioned, another key factor as to why St. Lucia is an attractive destination has to be our strategic location. You will hear this reference among the three of us because it's so important when investors make a decision. Additionally, also our highly trainable workforce. We have over 800 students graduating from Sir Arthur Lewis Community College every year, specializing in various fields, and that adds to our workforce as well. Also, our cost competitive environment, and one of the key factors for St. Lucia as well is our English speaking skills and our neutral accent. This poses a lot of reasons as to why investors will choose to come to St. Lucia to expand their operations.
Now, you mentioned some key points about the sector, Tara, and I'm happy that you spoke about the students coming out of Sir Arthur and so on, and what really makes St. Lucia that selling point. But what would you say are the trends driving growth in your sector right now?
There are several trends driving growth and investment in the BPO sector. Some of the trends we see are increasing demands in nearshore outsourcing. So companies are constantly looking for cost-effective solutions closer to their markets. So for instance, I recently attended a CCW conference where that was a key discussion, and you had a lot of industry leaders emphasizing the shift to nearshoring because it poses an area to improve efficiency while also reducing costs within the sector. Additionally, the rise of digital transformation and AI automation is leading into greater investments in the technology-driven spaces, such as AI support and customer data analytics. And this just shows that the information that I gained at the conference reaffirmed these innovations are reshaping the BPO landscape and also attracting global investments at the same time.
In addition to what Tara just mentioned, we are actually seeing these trends in the manufacturing industry as well. There have been tremendous technological advancements with the integration of automation and smart manufacturing.
As my colleagues have mentioned, there are a lot of trends that we need to capitalize on. The trends that we are seeing in the tourism sector are driven by wellness and adventure tourism. St. Lucia was fortunate to have been recognized for the leading Caribbean adventure destination, which shows that our product is a bit differentiated, not just what we're known for as being a honeymoon destination. And even in the new Tourism Development Act, they actually allow investors to get more incentives, or additional incentives rather, by practicing or engaging in sustainable development practices on their hotel plant. Some hotels would also invest in solar energy as a means of reducing the reliance on the diesel fuel energy, even having the single-use plastic straws. All that augurs well. And St. Lucia have the Green Globe certification that hotels use to instill sustainable practices at their operation. So that's some of the trends we are seeing in the tourism sector as well.
So these trends sound really exciting. I mean, from innovation in BPO and manufacturing, and also the trends that Zach has mentioned in travel and tourism. But one of the things that I would love to know about, and I think others would like to hear, is about some of the challenges that investors face when they have invested in St. Lucia, whether it be an international or local investor, and how does the agency help them to navigate those issues?
Like any other industry in the world, my sector, the BPO sector, does face some challenges. One common challenge that we see is the scaling of their operations efficiently. As demand grows, it is imperative that we always connect them to the right infrastructure as well as the right office space, because this allows for seamless integration into the business environment. This is where Invest St. Lucia steps in as we help investors identify suitable locations for their businesses. We help with navigating the regulatory process as well as providing access to government incentives, which makes the business expansion easier. So ultimately, our role is to ensure that investing in St. Lucia's BPO sector is as smooth and rewarding as possible.
Shirley, would you like to add anything in reference to manufacturing?
One challenge we do have in my sector, which is the manufacturing sector, is access to financing. This is a major barrier for our investors. We try our best to give them as much information as possible on government grants, loans. We get in touch with the financial institutions. We give them information on whatever financing is available. We also give them information on regional financing institutions so that we provide them with that type of knowledge which will help them in their research.
Zach, what about you as it relates to the tourism sector?
Well, before I get to that, what Tara and Shirley mentioned, it goes well in allowing St. Lucia to improve its ease of doing business, because as they indicated that we collaborate with a lot of key agencies, referral agencies. For example, we have an MOU with DCA that allows us to follow up on certain applications we submit for DCA approval. This will cut on the red tape and the turnaround time, because some of those investors, they can literally invest in other Caribbean island. So we have to try and be different and capitalize on some of those opportunities we have here. In my sector as well, like any other sector, especially the construction sector, you always get maybe that we have sufficient big workforce to satisfy some of our projects that are going on. But St. Lucia being part of the OECS and the freedom of movement of people, an investor can tap into persons within our economic zone, which has augured well as well. So when we do market St. Lucia, we also mention that this arrangement is with the OECS islands, and we can always tap into other islands to satisfy their needs. So that is one of the key challenges, and governments have come together to find a way around it to ensure that we can mitigate some of those headaches.
Awesome. And I know that earlier on, Zach, when we were speaking about what makes the sector attractive, you did speak about tourism and mentioned the adventure tourism, and as well as I think you spoke a little about wellness as well. And that is a very interesting thing for St. Lucia even now. But I just want to get a little bit more from you. If we're gauging the next 3 to 5 years, what emerging opportunities or emerging trends do you see for tourism as we look ahead?
Okay, thank you, Gina. Very good question. Some of the emerging opportunities we see coming on the next 3 to 5 years is the way people is for the purpose of travel. Persons travel for lifestyle. I know St. Lucia, like all the other islands, we offer sun, sea, and sun, but we, based on our topography, we can offer much more than that, right? Like I said, the wellness part of it is very key. Currently, we have a hotel under construction that is looking to roll out a state-of-the-art holistic and wellness center, the Life Co, which is also going to provide regenerative stem cell treatment. That's going to be a very big in this hemisphere, which is one of the first wellness centers in this hemisphere. Also, it will have a multiplier effect where sports tourism, athletes that are taking part in long tournaments, at the end of the season, they can always come to the tropics, the Caribbean, the islands, to get regenerated. And what better place to come than St. Lucia? Added to that, like I said earlier, on the orange economy, St. Lucia has set a record for having visitor arrivals virtually for the last 12 months. So during the slow period where our carnival and our jazz, you are seeing increased numbers from the region. And by the affiliation of different celebrities and influencers into our carnival, it has shed some more light on our destination. And I meant to mention with Junior Alfred winning the gold medal, it also added value to our sports tourism. So that's some of the emerging trends. Coupled to that, St. Lucia being a small island developing state, one of the key reliance or the key focus will be to ensure that our country is climate resilient. And the government now implementing the Sovereign Wealth Fund, which is geared towards building sustainable development. That is a trend where a lot of the hotel plans coming in will be other commanded to build climate-resistant structures.
So with that being said, and Zach explaining those emerging opportunities that we see coming in the next 3 to 5 years. Now I'm looking in maybe the eyes of an investor that's looking at this show right now and wondering, when I have made my investment in St. Lucia, whether it be international or local investor, and we've gone through that process, you have given me the service that I needed. What happens post investment? What kind of support do I expect from Invest St. Lucia at that point?
Okay, so after the investment is made, Invest St. Lucia provide continuous support to its clients, and we provide that through continuous facilitation. We ensure that our clients continue to connect with the right partners and they have the right resources to grow their business. We do that too, also through regulatory guidance to ensure that they're knowledgeable if there are any law changes, tax regulations, or just industry standards on the whole. Also, we provide them with networking opportunities where we organize events, meetings where they can meet up as businesses and create new growth opportunities for themselves. And lastly, we provide them with aftercare services where we help identify and resolve any issues they're having post investment. Because they do tend to have issues. Some have logistical issues, some have workforce management issues. So ISL as an agency ensure that we step in and we continue to provide them with the support and try to give them as much as we can as an agency.
In addition to what Sarah Lee said, we also support in a way of assisting investors with talent recruitment. We have assisted with quite a number of job fairs as well. So our support does not just stop at the investment stage. We do not just forget about the investors once their business has actually expanded. We take the customer through every stage from the investment, during the process, and even afterwards. We always maintain contact with the investors for further expansion into Lucia. So our support goes a very long way. We have the investors' interest from the start and to the continuous phase.
Awesome. I think if I'm an investor, I'll be excited to invest in St. Lucia. I'm just knowing that from the beginning of the process to the end that you guys would be available to assist me. And so now I think that gives me the opportunity to ask this question. If I am an investor looking or considering investing in St. Lucia, what would be that one piece of advice from each of you that you would want to give to me so that I would make that decision? What is that one piece of advice?
One piece of advice I would give to an investor who is interested in the manufacturing industry is to focus on sustainability and innovation. And as much as the industry can be successful on its own, with the adaptation of technological advancements, this would be one of the key components which will help your business survive in this industry.
Zach, what about you?
For sure, especially wanting to invest in St. Lucia, one of the first steps would be to consult Invest St. Lucia because we provide sound technical advice and knowledge to the clients. I'll also tell them to don't shy away from investing in big data because those data give a lot of insights into the market, not just Central but the Caribbean region. No island is the same. As much as we are small and we are close, we have a different culture and norms and what we do as well. And to ensure that the investment aligns with the government mandate, especially around sustainability. Like I said, because we are very big on ecotourism and protecting our environment, our beautiful, lush environment. We also, because we have a population that are very environmentally conscious as well. So that is, I think, one of the big factors, pull factors, that can get buy-in from not just the public, but other key stakeholders as well in the tourism sector.
Awesome. And Tara?
The one advice that I would give to investors considering the BPO sector in St. Lucia would be to build strong local partnerships and also understanding the market dynamics. I say this because the industry is rapidly evolving with technological advancements, and being able to adapt to those changes easily would give them the competitive edge. So I believe that would be the main advice that I would give to anybody.
Wonderful. I think that many persons would take that advice from each sector and from each of them that have so much innovation happening and so much that's taking place. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Thank you for being part of this conversation. And we've taken you beyond the sectors. We've examined the challenges, we've looked at opportunities, and we've also analyzed market trends. So we're looking forward to you looking at the next episode of Investor Insights. Thank you for joining us.